experimenting further with the Raspberry Pi Pisound add-on board, Patchbox OS, and the ModeP signal processing environment to emulate pedal effects and build modeled sounds for the bass. I'm using my Fretless again. It's a Ibanez Ergodyne from the early 2000s, 5-string fretless. And this is what I would call a advanced setup. This is also something that would be about $5,000 or $6,000 at least, if not impossible, with real effects. So I'll just briefly breeze by what's going on here, and I'll zoom in. You can see that there are two signal chains. They're both in stereo. They both meet at the end here and go out to the workstation, but let's just go ahead and start at the front end here. So my bass is mono, it comes in, and I go through, let's just look at the bottom half. So you can hear that, like, there's just a standard instrument sound without a lot of ambient effects. And that's just going through this tube warmer, a preamp, chorus, and then meeting at the dynamics over here to basically sum with the other sounds. So that's it for the regular bass. The ambient sounds are all being triggered by my playing, and there's an EQ and a compressor, which is kind of leveling out the signal. The EQ is more or less tailoring off the very low end, and everything above, the sort of scratch noises, and trying to just isolate fundamental frequencies and a little bit of overtones. Then I am actually doubling it in pitch. I'm raising it an octave, full octave above the bass. After I raise it, this is where it gets curious. This is an auto tune, but it is filtered to only reproduce two notes, two fundamental notes. So no matter what I play on the bass, it's either going to play a D or it's going to play an A. And that is, of course, something you can select. You can also set a MIDI input here and set those notes via a keyboard or a sequencer or something. But for the purposes of this, just a jam, I picked these two notes because I was kind of interested in creating a drone. Once I picked those two notes, and I have now a pure tone that's based on whatever I play, but it's resolving to just the D or the A, it's going into an envelope filter, basically a slow rise, kind of a swell that is applied to the tone. After the slow rise, it goes into a harmonizer, where the fourth and the fifth are added. So now I've got, if it's a D or an A, I've got it in the key of D. It's adding the fourth and the fifth to either the D or the A. And so this is kind of like creating, again, an open harmonic signature that I can play on top of or underneath without any risk of dissonance. Because it's constrained so tightly, it's just going to kind of swell and bloom in really interesting ways. Then I have a phaser, which is kind of just really adding a wobble and a kind of a diffusion to the sound, to the tone, before it goes through the last stage, which is all the ambient effects. First, there's an auto panner, which is actually just ping-ponging the sound back and forth, left and right, at a moderate frequency. And then for each of those left and right sides, I have another swell, so it kind of has the slow rise effect again, now just being applied to each of the pans. And then it goes through a shimmer verb, and the shimmer verb adds in another fundamental, either 1 or 2 octaves above. So you have this kind of, again, think of like a resonance that's being applied at each stage here before the shimmer then takes over and kind of creates that long tail that you hear kind of decaying over the sustained notes. And then finally it goes into a crossfade here because there's a left and right that are summed together again, sent to the compressor, and then off to the, to the inputs. So look, this is kind of a lot, but what I was interested in here and what I'm trying to do is kind of create acoustical sounds that are derivative of the bass, don't occupy the same frequency range as the bass, and they're creating a real-time counterpoint that I can play over, that I can kind of, actuate by playing, but that just doesn't sound like it's echo or just effects applied to the bass. It's a whole other instrument, essentially, that I am playing, and then allows me to kind of jam or just do some improv, which is what you're hearing. It's just fun to noodle, but also very interesting to give you some musical ideas for composition and even live performance. So I'll play a little bit more and then I'll just drop off. So toodles, guys, and thanks. This is fun. See ya.